Brian White has agreed to attempt a brainstorming session with me this morning.
I'm bringing the storm. We'll see if Randy brings the brain.
There is a major event about to take place, and it causes me to think catalysts. And so the catalyst in this case would be the robotaxi rollout, which I've stated repeatedly is the introduction of the largest, most profitable single product or service in the history of humankind. And so you would
So
think
far.
so far, and you would think there would be a lot of FOMO already, but it doesn't seem to be the whole FOMO doesn't seem to be getting going yet. But there's going to be some other catalysts this year besides robotaxi, and there's going to be maybe multiple catalysts around robotaxis. So what I thought I would do, Brian, with your permission, is divide the catalysts into categories
hmm
of catalysts. So that would be a cat. I'm not sure, but I think that's what you would call it, is a cat.
I
Okay,
call it subcat cats.
sub cat. Because
Well, because there's catalysts and there's subcategories
I
of
see
catalysts.
cat subcat or something. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So the first category would be the obvious. All right. So the obvious would be the robotaxi rollout. Do you consider this to be a catalyst? Would we see
Ab- yeah.
FOMO coming into it? Will we see a sell-off? What do you think is going to happen about the rollout?
Boy, if you're selling off in advance of this, I hope your crystal ball is well polished because mine can't see a reason to do that. Unless you think that the entire market has already priced in substantial immediate revenue, which I don't think it has. I'm not expecting substantial immediate revenue. I'm expecting immediate revenue and I'm expecting substantial over time. But if you so don't sell because of that. I mean, sell, buy, do whatever you want, but wow. Okay. So with that said, uh, how big of a catalyst is it, and how big will it hit? It is moving to the next iteration of technology is absolutely a big deal. I'm expecting the rollout to move slowly, methodically, cautiously. If you've got, and we've discussed this before, if you've got a small problem on 10 vehicles, you fix it. If you've got a small problem on 1,000 vehicles, it can grind the whole thing to a halt. It can be, the problems can compound. So, um, we're not talking about cybercabs. Those are coming later. We're talking about Model Ys. The vehicle itself has been tested. It has been vetted. It has been proven. Uh, the software that's running on it, I assume that Tesla's running a version of software that we do not yet have in the public. I'm assuming that it's got version 14 or some 13 dot iteration that we haven't that hasn't rolled out publicly yet, because there are a lot of little gaps missing, a lot of things that have to, they can't just use 13.2.8. They cannot, because it doesn't have the ability to select where at the store you'd like to be dropped off. It doesn't have the ability to ping your phone and tell you it has arrived. It's got a lot of little things like that. And presumably it has better handling for emergency vehicles uh, or railroad crossing arms, things like that. So, will it be a catalyst? Yes, not immediately. It'll be a question of how big the rollout goes. And you also asked, will there be FOMO? Will there be people jumping into the stock because they can now see it? I have to think so, because as soon as social media gets videos of this vehicle in use, in practice, I think it can uh, introduce the company to new shareholders. Will it be enough to move the stock? Different matter. I know someone said on X, I saw, uh, wow, Waymo's got all these new cars. We just saw drone footage from Arizona. I'm going heavy into Google. Great. It's a mega cap. You going heavy into it doesn't change anything.
So then we've got the next obvious one, which will be the Model Q reveal. We're expecting that to be in the month of June because we haven't been told otherwise. There was a lot of FOMO around that this morning. A lot of FUD around that this morning with various news reports about whether it's actually going to happen and whether it's just going to be a trimmed down version of a Model Y or Model 3. Let's assume that it's going to be a different car for this purpose. Will it be catalytic when we do get to finally see the vehicle, get the specs, get the pricing, etc.?
What is the vehicle? If it's just a decontented 3 or Y, my guess is it will move the stock not at all. Probably not in either direction, but certainly not up. I can't imagine people seeing a stripped down 3 and Y and going, yes, now is the time to buy. The stock. The car, perhaps people would look at that and go, yeah, wow, it's even cheaper, especially if they could get it IRA qualified before the IRA disappears. If you've got a 25, 30,000, even a $30,000 car, and you take 7,500 off of that, 22.5, man, that's hard to beat. So the question is, what would the car actually be? If it is a different form factor, and I know Brian Wang has suggested from analyzing drone footage that it could be, that could move the stock. If we get something exciting, and we're expecting it in the next 4 weeks, could that move the stock? Sure. A new model, new excitement? Absolutely. I think that could move the stock. Will it? Who knows? Are there other headwinds where it would just recover to today's value? Quite possibly. Unlike the hypothetical person I was making fun of in the previous bullet point, I don't have a crystal ball.
All right. So we got news over the weekend that apparently Grock will be coming out in this new release, the new over-the-air update that is rolling out to the employees right now and will come to us. So of course, this has been one that I've been just dying to be able to use, to have fun with in the car. My expectation is when it's announced or when it just pops over, that won't move the stock. But then there will be video after video after video of people playing with Grok in their cars and coming up with all kinds of things to ask it, ways to use it, etc. I think that'll it may not move it, 20 points or something, but I think it will give it a bump, give it an interest level that will push it forward a bit.
I will disagree with you on this. I think while Grok could be tremendously useful, it could work as well or better than any of us expect. I don't see it adding value to the company in the short term in ways that are measurable to analysts, let alone consumers. Where's the monetization? Would people go out and buy a car just because it has Grok? Probably not. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. So I think it could happen. It could happen soon. I don't see it having any meaningful impact on the stock.
Then we have potentially at some point in the next 30, 60, 90 days, we could have the DOT coming out and saying, okay, here's the rules. And Tesla, you qualify, so you can go nationwide now. And that is a factor. That's a fact, period. It's done. No questions. It's ready to go.
I don't believe that the federal framework would supersede the local frameworks. States that already have local rules in place can be more restrictive. The federal framework, as I understood it, was designed to allow states that don't want to create their own framework an opportunity to just say, yeah, that one. We're just going to use that one. The only real question to me is, does it work? If it works, the rest is just red tape. California, famously big fans of regulation. Oh, they love it. Oh, it's the best. Already have the most vehicles testing of any state from the most brands, apart from maybe Texas. Texas has also set up their own framework, which has allowed for more testing. Rules aren't always bad. Sometimes rules can make things easier because you eliminate the unknowns. Would that help the stock? I'm going to say no, because the people who understand what it means are already invested. And I mean, maybe someone like ARK Invest would go a little heavier. They recently trimmed 50,000 shares, but they still hold millions of shares. I don't know that they would look at that as a reason to say today is the day to buy back in. They might be waiting for an unprecedented dip, a no reason at all dip to get back in. But they also may have sold those 50,000 shares because it was announced just today that they participated in a Series E fundraising round with Neuralink. They probably needed the money for that.
Maybe they
Uh,
did.
so I don't know if they have the dry powder. So I don't think, while this is good for the company, while this is good long term, I don't think it'll have any short term impact.
Okay, I just clap back slightly that
Please.
the chairman, I forget his name now, of the Department of Transportation, said that it would in fact override all state regulations. Now, he could be wrong and there could be lawsuits, but
Yeah.
my belief is that when it's announced that these are national regulations, he will restate the fact that it overrides all state regulations. And that's why I'm thinking it could be a catalyst.
Yeah. I have never seen anything in that doesn't sound at all right to me. Uh, yeah, I don't think that would be possible, but these people have been wrong about a lot of things, and their track record with winning court cases has not been stellar.
Okay, so the next one is a significant update on Optimus Skills. So this would be pictures of
Mm.
factory, using the Optimus in the factory, interacting with other employees, interacting with other bots, doing some welding, putting the wheel on the car. I mean, doing things that are really useful.
Hmm. Mm. So it depends on the demo, doesn't it? Something as easy as put it in every showroom and have it just polish fingerprints off cars all day would be huge. It'd be huge in part because we can see it doing something practical, and in part because uh, people would flock to showrooms and say, wait a minute, $299 a month for a lease? That's a bargain. And by the way, guys, if you're not aware, the Model 3 is one heck of a deal right now. You still get the $7,500 federal credit, and it ends up being like $35,000 for for a car that can go 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds for the rear wheel drive. That's bonkers. It's a heck of a car. And I think so even that would help. Would it help? Would it be a catalyst to see it operating in limited factory environments, doing productive uh, labor replacing jobs? I don't know. I don't know. The AI space is very crowded. The robotics space is very crowded. As you know, if you were young and interested in high risk investments, you would have hundreds of choices between AI and robotics to invest in. Um, and it's unclear who the winners will be today. It's very likely Tesla would be among the winners because they have the manufacturing capability that almost no robot companies have, uh, unless you're going to count Hyundai with Boston Dynamics. They do have, if a Boston Dynamics bot becomes a viable commercial product, Hyundai has the capacity to build it well, quickly, and efficiently. But that's very unique. So I don't know. And for that matter, BYD has a robotics division now, just like they have a Megapack division and a FSD division. So sounds familiar. They have in-house chip design. Boy, where are they getting all these ideas?
So the last one of my obvious ones would be the third quarter earnings call, not the second quarter earnings call
Mm,
come up in July, but the one in October, because in October we will have had several months of robotaxis on the road. We would have potentially some updates with regard to the Optimus. We would have updates with regard to semi going, on time, or is it on time? Is it ready to go? We would have updates with regard to Cybercab. Is it on time, ready to start producing in small volumes? There would be so many things that are part of my 2026 thesis that I've been talking about for 18 months or longer, that would be able to be revealed and are updated and are confirmed at the third quarter meeting. This would be, to me, a potential really big earnings call in terms of a catalyst.
So we've got factories on 3 continents. China appears to be doing just fine. You will see no shortage of headlines proclaiming doom, but those have been a steady flow since 2019. Maybe this time they're right, but oh, look, the new numbers came out. They're still wrong. That could change. China's very competitive. They've got a lot of other vehicle manufacturers there that are always engaged in price wars. The cars are getting better. At some point, without significant price cuts or new models or new features, this will cut into Tesla's sales. That day does not appear to be today. So China, I'm not even going to count them for this year. They appear to be staying the course. Any shortfall in domestic demand has been soaked up by expanding markets in Southeast Asia and elsewhere. Fine. In Europe, Model Y, the sales have been pretty bad this year, but some of that may be due to production. Some of it may be due to brand damage. Some of it definitely is due to both. But then we get new countries releasing their numbers. All of the, Nordic countries, demand is very strong. The UK, demand has been very strong. Well, no, it was weak 1 month, right? When the ship doesn't arrive, you can't sell the cars. I don't know how difficult that is to understand, but apparently all these years later, we're still having to explain that you have to build things and then ship them before people can buy them. It's very weird, right? So there are European markets where Tesla's still doing very well. And just a week or two ago, we saw Giga Berlin has announced new hiring. They are looking to fill a bunch of manufacturing positions. That's not something you generally do when your factory is done. It's doomed. So I don't know how much of that to count. Headwinds in the US, quite different. We've got, Canada sales are done. The tariff war, we lost. They're now, Model Y is now $90,000 in Canada. Sales have dropped. That's hard to come back from. Then you've got US sales. You may see a big wave of buyers trying to get in on the $7,500 credit before it disappears. But we've got now massive steel tariffs. That's going to hit Tesla's bottom line. You've got just a lot of headwinds in the US. The increase in EV registration fees, that's anywhere from 2 to 8 times what you would be paying in gas taxes. That's just punitive. That's going to diminish sales in the US. While Tesla is the big dog on US soil, all EV sales are going to be impacted, and Tesla will not be immune. They may fare better than the competition, but the vast majority of the competition has their more profitable internal combustion sales to fall back on. So Q3 will also be helped by the Model Y. Even if the sales are lower, the margin should be higher. So even if they sell a bit fewer than they would like, they could still make the same amount of money, because we know with the Model Y, it is a cheaper, more efficient car to build. The number of hours it takes to build has been reduced. The cost has been reduced. The parts count has been reduced. It's a better car for less money, and they haven't dropped the price, which means the margins are a little better than they were last year. Strong Q3 numbers. Would it bolster the stock price? And I know this is a long walk, but you asked a good question, and I figured if you're going to take the time to ask a good question, I might as well give you a good answer. is the price to earnings ratio is already very, very high. I don't know if just strong earnings could be enough to boost that. I think in order to see a meaningful boost, something that isn't just meme driven or hyper driven, we need to see results from uh, Megapack, from autonomy, from robotics. So if the stock remains flat for the rest of the year in the mid 300s, 320 to 380, it won't surprise me, because I think we have potentially gotten a bit out over our skis. When it's been higher than this, it's drawn back quickly. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's a catalyst.
Okay, all right. So those were the earnings results that we would see on existing product lines. Of course, the energy numbers should be up pretty dramatically by the
I
third.
agree.
But the thing I was talking about was more the quality of the guidance as we look at the robotaxi rollout. Now you can start to project more states, more cities, more countries, et cetera. By then, you would have again the matter of the cyber cabs. Maybe by late October, maybe they can give us a date when they think they'll start manufacturing them. Same thing with semi truck. So these would all be guidance issues that would be inclined to get people enthusiastic and excited about 2026. And of course, stocks are always supposed to be stock purchasers, buyers are always looking forward in terms of the potential.
Oh, okay, great. What was the question?
Even if the underlying numbers were kind of flattish to up a little bit because of energy, the guidance is what I was looking at as the
So
potential.
whose guidance? Because Tesla doesn't like to give guidance lately. Analysts, I don't I don't value their opinion. I don't know if you heard, but a good example I like to give is last year, Rivian said we're going to sell this many trucks. And then they said, actually, it's going to be higher than that. It's going to be, 10, 20% higher than that. And then they beat that number and the stock went down because they missed expectations. And we're like, who? Well, Wall Street thought they'd make even more than that higher revised number by more than it's like, okay. So the analysts, I mean, they've got their heads so far up there, they can practically poke back out the hole again. I don't know what they're doing.
All right, let's go to the second category. The second category is the forgotten catalysts that people just seem to be like, yeah, that we used to talk about that. So the first one would be a licensing deal with
Mm.
Tesla for FSD. If we get that, and the timing would, of course, be obvious if we've got the robotaxis rolling out, if they don't have any significant accident issues or run into things or get
If it just plain works.
this plane works. We probably might be looking, based on Elon's statement, we might be looking at a licensing deal. If we get a licensing deal, does that catalyze the stock?
So very good. That is absolutely a forgotten catalyst. Nobody's going to license their competitor. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. In China, we're already seeing it. A lot of manufacturers are using Huawei because their system is awfully good. And we don't have $10 billion, let alone the confidence that our engineers can do it. If you're Honda, you don't have an autonomous division. You're waiting for someone to partner with, whether that's NVIDIA or, you know, Mobileye or whoever it may be. You're waiting. Um, Whoever gets truly autonomous first is going to have a tremendous advantage. And the second advantage will go to whoever has autonomous the cheapest. I don't know what Tesla's licensing cost would be, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's not up to me. Let's say it's November. Robotaxis have been in trial for some time. We're already seeing expansion. Maybe we're not in a second city yet, but Austin has got hundreds of vehicles and they just plain work. I could see a company saying, yes, we've pulled the trigger, the paperwork is signed. In 3 years' time, we're going to have Tesla inside. That I believe would be a catalyst. I think people who believe in that brand, that second brand, would be more inclined to invest. I think people looking for a leader who stepped out ahead of the pack would recognize that and say, well, if it's, it's like the switch to NACS. Ford announced it. And I think you and I were looking at it saying, oh, this is the end. It's already over. The Charger standard wars are done.
God.
And of course, we were right because between Ford and Tesla, we're now talking about a big chunk of the well, another one just announced. Okay, guys, it's definitely over. It's a matter of time. And yeah, it's surprising. I mean, Toyota's on, everybody's on, because to do anything else would be crazy. So yeah, I think that announcement would be a catalyst, potentially as big as the Hertz announcement was 2-3 years ago.
Okay, the other forgotten one is one I talk about all the time, but I'm just a little tiny YouTube.
Well, people forget about you.
They forget about me. So the big one that I've been
Sad.
talking about, I think it'll be the biggest catalyst that Tesla's ever had, is unsupervised for all. Because
Mhm,
when you have the unsupervised for all roll out, every human that owns a Tesla will be taking it back over to their neighbor to show them. It's just
mhm.
not, it's something you will not be able to avoid getting in the back seat with your neighbor and then having the car tool around town, going to various places. So that I think will catalyze sales. That
Well, I
will,
don't have time to show you, Randy, so I'll just send it.
yeah, just send it over and let you do it.
So,
So yeah,
by the way, I'm returning your Tupperware. It's outside.
yes, look outside. I love it.
So,
I love it.
I'll just cut you off there because this would be huge. This would be, I mean, this would be huge. This would be the biggest thing ever. This would be the thing that um, I know people whose vision has deteriorated. This
Mhm.
would give them back a whole lot of freedom. I know people who don't see well in the dark. Um, it happens to the best of us as we get older. It would give them back peace of mind. I'll tell you, just having supervised FSD has been tremendous for my comfort and anxiety and sanity and all that, because I can come back from a 13-hour flight, a 16-hour flight, and know that I'm not going to crash on the way home. I'm just going to supervise. And what if you take it one more step, which is I'm not going to supervise. I'm just going to relax. It's going to be a game changer. And do you know that for less than the cost of subscribing to FSD, that FSD is cheaper than what I end up paying for parking at the airport?
Yeah, right. Exactly. 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
You should see the bill that I have
A
for my 4 week stay in Hawaii. Yeah.
$100 will get you very little parking at the airport.
All right. So that is the number one, but I got one other one to talk about. I'm calling it the incessant. The incessant. And actually, I have one more down here called the hard to measure, but we're going to have to hurry up because I really want. Anyway. So the incessant would
The
be.
tide's rising. I can see it.
That's right. So the incessant would be updates on the Austin rollout, such as 100 cars now, 1,000 cars now, a second city now, those kind of things. As those come, as it becomes more obvious that it's a big deal, maybe the day that they pass Waymo in terms of cars on the road, there'll be all those kind of releases and pieces of information coming out, and that the incessant aspect of those calls will cause the stock to kind of inexorably go up.
Don't know. Tough to say because, again, the PE ratio is already very high. So I don't know how much hype, but what you could see is, um, do you know that Tesla owns the world's largest billboard? It's the roof of Giga Texas. What value is there having your logo on the roof of your building? I mean, there can't be much value, right? Well, I mean, there are constant drone flights, but the people watching it already are thinking Tesla. That doesn't help. But you can see the Tesla logo from Austin Bergstrom Airport approach or take off, depending on the wind. You can see it. It's a huge billboard. It's unmistakable. So let's talk about the people who go to airports. The people who go to airports statistically have more money. Those are the people who are likely to invest in something. A lot of people who invest in something will throw in a few bucks, a few hundred, few thousand bucks, something inconsequential to them on a company without any analysis, just a fun play. Those people use airports will be using robotaxi. I can see people getting in a robotaxi, going home, and then saying, I should invest in that company. I can see people getting in a robotaxi and saying, you know what? I'm never going to get in one of these again because I'm buying one. I want my own. There are people who would never touch Tesla. People like Alexandra Mertz, who was curious about the company. Certainly not something I'm super interested in, but you know what? Let's rent one. They rented one, they drove it, and she said, I am going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to sell all my positions in all my companies, go all in on Tesla, return my car that's on a lease with a penalty, and buy a Tesla because this is the future. Robotaxi is free advertising for all those things. Would the growth of the robotaxi network result in more nickel and dime investors? I believe, absolutely. But I've been wrong before.
Well, you weren't wrong today. I think.
About which thing? Tell us in the comments.
Right, 100%. What a good idea. All right, we're going to wrap up part one right now. We're going to go on to part two because we're going to continue the brainstorming session. Brian, I think I passed. Oh, I'm sorry. I think you passed the brainstorming concept. You became a brainstormer here today. And so we're going to try it again. This time we're going to brainstorm about other ways to monetize what's going to happen in the robotaxi and the cybercab. So if you guys liked part one, hang out for part two on probably Tuesday night. That's the likely time that we'll do that. Brian, thank you so much.
I will sit here until Tuesday night, probably.
Okay. What a concept. Or for 2 minutes while we tear down this first show and open the second show. All right. Thanks again, Brian, for being on. And to all of you out there, it has been great talking to you.